2025 was supposed to have been a very, very good year for the Judgment Day. And so far, it has. Not only did Finn Balor recruit Roxanne Perez into the Judgment Day, but Finn and JD McDonough regained the World Tag Team titles from the New Day, while Dirty Dom went on to become Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania and AAA Mega Champion just a few weeks ago at Worlds Collide in Las Vegas. However, for both Dirty Dom and Roxanne, it seems as if people are under the impression that they could do better without the Judgment Day. Now, as far as Dirty Dom goes, he can. In fact, this past Monday on Raw, he actually defeated Rusev on his own without needing the help of the Judgment Day. But what about Roxanne Perez? Excuse me. What about Roxanne Perez? Well, as crazy as this sounds, yes, she has had quite a few victories this entire year in 2025 since joining the main roster earlier this year. However, unfortunately, she's had more losses than wins, which buys into the question, is the Judgment Day holding Roxanne Perez back? And the answer is yes. And there are several pieces of evidence that prove that Finn Balor and the rest of the Judgment Day are holding her back. For one, when you really think about it, this was actually the first time in several years that Roxanne Perez was a tag team champion. The last time she was a tag team champion, it was her and Cora Jade that became NXT Women's Tag Team Champions before Cora stabbed Roxanne in the back just mere weeks later. And when you look at what happened at SummerSlam, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what happened at SummerSlam. For those who do not know about what happened at SummerSlam, Alexa Bliss pinned Roxanne Perez with Sister Abigail to win the tag team titles, and then just a couple nights later on Raw, both Roxanne and Raquel invoked their rematch clause and unfortunately failed. In fact, it was actually Roxanne Perez who lost the match a second time. Which again, all eyes are on Finn Balor. Because every time Finn Balor tries to get involved in anyone else's business, they all end up losing. And Finn has always said when you listen to Finn, you win. 8 times out of 10, that's not the case. Usually 8 times out of 10, it's when you listen to Finn, you lose. And the reason why that the Judgment Day has lost so many matches over the last almost 2 years, over the course of the last year, the last full complete calendar year, was because Finn Balor and Dominik Mysterio kicked Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley out of the Judgment Day, and with Carlito gone from WWE again, one has to wonder if maybe Carlito was the reason why the Judgment Day was still together. But all eyes were on Liv Morgan because she was the one that helped Finn and JD become tag team champions the first time around, so you guys all already know. So as far as Roxanne Perez goes, I feel like if she were to break away from the Judgment Day, she could do so much as a singles competitor. She's already become arguably probably one of the best heels that we had seen in a long time. But when you really get down to it, the question becomes, can she do more as a babyface? And the answer is yes. And the reason why I say that is because when she was NXT Women's Champion the second time, as a heel, she completely dominated. She dominated. She completely dominated NXT with an iron fist, toppling over literally some of the best talent that NXT had to offer. Whether it was Shotzi, whether it was Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, Thea Hale, Tiffany Stratton, Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, whether it was who else can I name? Tatum Paxley I mentioned, Thea Hale I mentioned, um, Lola Vice, Jada Parker, whether it was Julia, it didn't matter who she was up against. She always prevailed against the very best that NXT had to offer. But now that she's part of the Judgment Day, it seems as if Finn Balor is holding her back. She's holding Finn Balor. I feel like is holding Roxanne back from reaching her full potential as a member of the Raw roster. And I feel like if she were to get away from the Judgment Day, she could become a major star on Raw. And I feel like that right there is the big push that she needs. She needs to get that big push and go and start going after singles gold. Because if she continues to play second fiddle to all the other members of the Judgment Day, it's only a matter of time before she gets lost in the shuffle, and she could end up getting released from WWE. It's happened with so many people, with so many guys and girls in WWE who went on to become former world champions and then ended up getting lost in the shuffle, only for them to be released later on. It happened to guys like Braun Strowman. It happened to guys like Bray Wyatt. God rest his soul. It's happened to it's happened um to I would say Mandy Rose, but she didn't get release of her contract. She just flat out got fired. Flat out got fired, just straight up. For the obvious reasons you guys all already know. It's happened to so many people, including more recently. We found out that Adris Enofe has also decided to leave WWE, which is unfortunate because he could have done so much, not just in NXT, but also on Evolve as well. So, but big shout outs to the EOE. Shout outs to him. Best of luck. Best of luck with his future. And looking forward to seeing what he's going to do next. But again, it's happened to so many people. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens to Roxanne. But imagine what happens if she left the Judgment Day and she did get that big push. If she did become a babyface and get that big push, now she could become a major threat. Not only to the women's world title, excuse me, currently being held by none other than La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer, but she could also become a threat to the Vision's very own Becky Lynch and the women's intercontinental title, which is a possibility. But imagine if she were to get traded over to SmackDown. what happens then? What happens then? She could become a threat to Tiffany Stratton's reign as WWE Women's Champion. She could also become a threat to Julia's reign as women's United States Champion, which apparently both of the mid card women's titles haven't gotten much screen time, I guess, as of late. But that's for a future video. That's for another time. But looking at the current standings with the Judgment Day, right now, Dirty Dom is just doing his own thing. He's truly become he truly is and slowly becoming the greatest Mysterio of all time. He's become the only Mysterio in the family to become AAA Mega Champion, which is basically their equivalent of a world championship, which again, huge congrats to Dom. His first of what I believe to be many world championships that he will earn in whether it's in WWE, in NXT, Pro Wrestling Noah, or wherever. He's definitely going to become a major player in WWE. But Roxanne, she's become more of a third wheel. Because imagine what happens if Liv Morgan comes back. Roxanne and Raquel, they no longer have the women's tag team titles. So what's next? The way I see it, the moment Liv Morgan returns, which we could expect her to come back sometime between now and the Royal Rumble, which apparently will take place in Riyadh. Apparently, rumors have it that she's currently at the PC training, getting ready for a big return, which we could potentially see Liv Morgan kick Roxanne out of the Judgment Day, which I believe is exactly what Roxanne needs. Roxanne needs to be thrown out of the Judgment Day and get a second babyface push, because right now Roxanne's heel run, it's slowly just fading away. It's slowly getting to the point where Roxanne is basically becoming the Seth Rollins of the women's division. Like, fans want to see Roxanne in the ring, and they want her to be at her very best, because we all know that when that bell sounds and that bell sounds and she is going up against some of the best talent in the world, that's when she is at her best. And I feel like Roxanne Perez could become the Seth Rollins of the women's division, because Seth Rollins, he was a heel for several years, from 2019 to 2022. So 3 years. 3 years. Roxanne Perez has been a heel for almost that long. So I think now is about time that we finally see Roxanne get away from the shadows of Finn Balor and the rest of the Judgment Day, to move towards her future of being a major player. Those are just some pieces of evidence that Finn Balor is breaking away, is holding Roxanne back. Another thing that has also caught my attention is the fact that even though Dirty Dom is with Liv Morgan, many people believe that Roxanne Perez is having the hots for Dominik Mysterio. I mean, I don't think anybody will blame her. Maybe except for Liv Morgan, but that's another thing that I believe is the reason why Roxanne should leave the Judgment Days, because imagine what happens if Dom and Raquel, not Raquel, Dom and Roxanne start getting all lovey-dovey. Where does Liv Morgan go from here? The possibilities are endless. And when you really think about it, the babyface run that Roxanne had was absolutely insane. It was actually pretty solid. I mean, she had won the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament, the first ever tournament actually. She won the NXT Women's title in her second shot of becoming champion. She became Women's Tag Team Champion in NXT. She headlined more than half a dozen NXT Premium Live events. And when you really think about it, heel Roxanne in NXT was magic. Let's just be real. It was 100% magic. She main evented more premium live events in NXT than any other female has ever done in NXT history. In fact, Roxanne Perez, I believe has main evented 9 premium live events, if I remember correctly. She's either main evented 9 or at least a dozen premium live events since her first reign as NXT Women's Champion. So when you really think about it, babyface Roxanne with the attitude that she has, it could do a lot of damage. It can do a lot of damage to the entire women's division, and she could become a major threat. But as far as Dirty Dom goes, I think it's about time for Dominik to leave the Judgment Day, because he's just been doing things on his own. He won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania on his own. He became AAA Mega Champion obviously with the help of the Judgment Day, because let's be real, he couldn't do it on his own. He had to have the help of JD. He had to have the help of Finn and El Grande Americano, which was that was something, to say the very least. But with Dom's first title defense of the AAA Mega title, it'll be against Dragon Lee. So that'll be a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. Not sure when it'll take place, but I'm pretty sure that fans will be able to watch it on YouTube, like we had with both Worlds Collide shows and Triple Mania. I will say, when you really think about it, both Dom and Roxanne have done, they did a lot in, as part of the Judgment Day. But right now the Judgment Day has just gone stale. It's getting to a point now where it's all eyes on Dom and it's all eyes on Roxanne. And I think it's about time that WWE finally put an end to the Judgment Day storyline, simply by having Dom and Roxanne leave the group and just do things on their own. Do I believe that this is the push that both of those two need? Absolutely. Is it something that they could benefit from? Absolutely. Can they become even bigger stars than they are now, as if they left the Judgment Day? Abso-fucking-lutely. I 100% believe that should happen. But obviously, knowing Finn Balor, it ain't ever gonna happen. So let's just be real, it ain't never gonna happen. The only way that it would happen is if Liv Morgan returns. That's like the only way. So with that being said, let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on this whole ordeal. And let me know in the comments as well, which championship do you guys believe Roxanne Perez should go after as a singles star? Let me know down in the comments below. And that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.